So thank you all for being with us today at the UNEP Regional Roundtable. Our session today is quite interesting. In many ways, it's not very far away from home. So our session today is Unlocking Circular Economy Finance. So I believe that in Africa and Middle East specifically, we all grew up in the region and saw firsthand circularity happening in our homes. In our mother's kitchens and in our grandmother's kitchens, we always found this cupboard that has some empty jars that we had no idea why they were holding on to. And then they reused them again in a circularity approach. So they were always repurposed, always some old fabric that has been changed, for instance, and transformed into a hot pot holder or something of that sort. So these small, thoughtful actions kind of reflected the mindset of care, resourcefulness, and also making things last, the value that kind of lies in the heart of circular economy. So what's new now is that we're scaling these practices through policy, finance, and innovation to build entire systems that are regenerative by design. So our panel today will explore how circular economy represents a crucial enabler for sustainability and a just transition. It will focus on the interlinkages between circular economy and priorities for the region in terms of climate mitigation, climate adaptation, nature-positive finance, just transition, financial inclusion, among others. So we will focus also on the key sectors that are of importance in the region, and we have today a representative from the agriculture sector as well with us on the panel. And it will highlight the importance of a multi-stakeholder collaboration, especially between public actors and private actors in Africa and Middle East to unlock circular economy financing. So with that said, I'd be happy to introduce our panelists for today. We are joined by Mr. Hany Bahy, Chief Financial Officer at Sekem Group. We are also joined by Ms. Sanae Lahlou, Country Representative for Morocco at UNIDO. We are joined also by Ms. Tonna, Ezema, Head of Sustainable Banking at Fidelity Bank, and Mr. Zouhair, Bou-Sokri, Banker at Financial Institutions for EBRD. So please, a round of applause to welcome our panelists. So, speaking about circularity and Hany, if we can perhaps set the ground for the conversation and look at our real economy, circular economy finance also in action in one of the core sectors that we have in the region. So Sekem has been a pioneer in integrating sustainable practices with agriculture in Egypt. So how has Sekem approached financing its circular economy initiatives, and what models have proven more effective in attracting investments for sustainable agriculture in the region? What innovative financing approaches have you used or found?
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to give some input about the agriculture sector, which is, I think, one of the most important sector because it's providing the food security for the global and for everyone. But before I start, I would like just to give you some information about the agriculture sector in Egypt, just to have some sense about what are the challenges we are facing. So in Egypt, we have about 7 million small farmers. And we have almost nearly 7 million acres of land. So we can say that almost each farmer owns only one faddan and one acre, which is very small area, which have been put all the farmer under the pressure. That's how to increase the yield, productivity and the yield of each faddan. The agriculture sector in Egypt last year made a breakthrough in its export contribution to Egyptian GDP, and the export of agriculture crop reached almost $10 billion, with a growth of 25%, achieving the highest level of growth in Egypt compared to all the other sectors. But when you go to the other side and see the latest statistic from Central Bank of Egypt, that's all the Egyptian banks in 2024 have granted about 8 trillion Egyptian pounds in form of direct loans and finance. And you can imagine the share of agriculture sector in this amount is 0.7%. So it really totally undervalued portion compared to the impact of agriculture in Egypt as a way to GDP growth and all other aspects. So this imagine what are the expectations for agriculture in particular. So in Sekem we have adopted a real circular economy concept for agriculture because it has been known that agriculture is one of the sectors that are not sustainable sectors because it's helped in increasing emission of ethane and carbon emission. And in Sekem we developed a model that converts agriculture to be the solution for climate mitigation and sustainability. And adopting an organic cultivation and sustainable organic techniques is the key solution for this issue. So basically, simply, we can say that we are approaching our farmer to convert almost 40,000 farmers from conventional agriculture to sustainable agriculture models. And this conversion is tackling 4 dimensions actually. Using of renewable energy, using of compost instead of chemical fertilizers, using of some sort of efficient irrigation system, and planting tree. And the outcome of this conversion, you are providing a decent or additional source of income to the Egyptian farmers in form of generating carbon credit, and these carbon credits are be sold in to the external stakeholder or the voluntary carbon market. So we are providing a key additional source of income to the farmer. And let's say the main challenges in the agriculture sector in Egypt is access to finance, okay? Because the most common excuse for all financial institutions that agriculture is considered a high risk sector. They can see that any kind of natural disaster, any kind of unpredicted crisis could happen, which means that the source of revenue will be eliminated. And unfortunately, this kind of philosophy has been dominated over the banking sector for many decades now. And we are trying to suffer to get out of this mindset and try to change it, because agriculture is a real solution. Egypt, if you'd like Egypt to continue growing and to increase its export of agriculture, you should expand by 1 million of additional hectares in order to reach the target of more than 30 to 40% increase in your export from agriculture. And I see that we most of the time when we are go to banks, really we are stuck with this traditional risk school that are presenting that all the return of agriculture is not matching our expected IRR, not matching our expected leverage ratio, and all this understandable justification about financial ratio analysis and the risk appetite of the bank. So I think for agriculture in particular, there should be some sort of out-of-box ideas, that some financial solution or instrument that should be designed in order to account all the factors and all the challenges and all the importance and all things that's linked to agriculture. Agriculture not like any other industry. We are talking or dealing with planets. It's a human, it's a life. If you, for one day, postpone the irrigation for this crop, it will be done. It's a very sensitive sector, but it's one of the most important sectors for humanity. So I think it's in Sekem we start to innovate. And the idea of providing carbon credit is some sort of having additional source of finance and trying to secure additional source of finance and leveraging on the idea of organic cultivation and encourage banks to join this initiative and try to see that we did it by ourselves and the model is live, and we need your support to try to figure out a decent amount of money to inject directly to the smallholder farmer in order to make them to provide a high quality of life, improve the quality of crops, and provide an economic development.
Thank you so much for that, for your thoughts, and also seeing all the facts also in Egypt and the talks on carbon credit, and also seeing how there is the continuous need for innovative instruments. I would now look to you, Tonna. So Fidelity Bank has a lot of work where you're embedding sustainability into your core operations and also into your lending strategies. So what specific opportunities also do you see in integrating circular economy principles in your banking portfolio?
All right, thank you for the invitation once again, and good morning, everyone. We find that many of secular businesses fall within SMEs and informal enterprises. And these segments typically have difficulty accessing financing. So we see this as a very good opportunity for us to target financial products for these segments. And not just targeting financial products, ensuring that there's flexibility in terms of the pricing, in terms of collateral requirements, and in terms of what we look out for in terms of credit scoring of these segments. Another area would be in the area of circular agricultural finance, which is capital intensive waste to energy projects. Usually require large amounts of capital, regenerative farming. These are areas that we can use to diversify our portfolio away from sectors that are very typical in Nigeria, for example, the oil and gas sector, mining and other sectors. Another very important opportunity also is in the area of sustainable construction and real estate. So financing businesses that are into modular construction, financing businesses that are into developers, providing them with competitive pricing rates, developers that are into eco-friendly buildings, energy efficient designs. That's one area that we see as a very good opportunity. Also, businesses that are involved in clean energy, recycling of solar panels, reuse, battery reuse, and also e-waste collection. That's another very good opportunity for us in Fidelity Bank. And I'd like to also say that in the area of technical assistance, capacity building, it's very important that we build capacity for businesses, because there's limited awareness of the advantages, the benefits, and the practices associated with circular economy. So it's one area that we see as an opportunity for us to provide advisory services. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think capacity building also has been brought up several times today. And it's very important, especially between the banks and the clients, seeing also how the relationship can go, which also brings us to the discussion that happened yesterday on collaborations. So, Sanae, I'll look to you so that we can zoom out a bit and look at the enabling environment. So, UNIDO, you have a lot of work on industrial circularity in Morocco, and I wanted to hear from you about what policies and financial levers have proven useful in advancing the circular economy as well, and advancing this agenda.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nuran. First of all, let's start with some basic. You were talking around about our houses and what's happening. Let's start by removing these on our tables, because this is the basic of circularity. Having plastic in conferences when we say that we're not supposed to use plastic, this is something that UNIDO, I'm always fighting with my colleagues. telling them, please have glasses, because we need to advocate for circularity, and by advocating for circularity, we need to start by ourselves. So this is just one between brackets. So thank you again to UNEP for this invitation. In UNIDO, so the UN Industrial Development Organization, we are very proud to support Morocco's ambitions for more circular and low carbon economies. And as you said, Nuran, our approach, actually we have a multifaceted approach. First, at a policy level. Second, with the technical assistance program and project. I will discuss about that later on. And third, by creating the whole financial, or participating in the whole financial ecosystem, blended finance initiatives and other activities that help Morocco to raise funds for this circular economy initiative. At a policy level, we have, Morocco in general is doing a lot in circular economy. A lot of projects UNIDO also doing with Morocco, but at a moment we noticed that there were no roadmap. We were just working on circularities, but there is no real strategy that will lead the way and will give access to bankable projects even for financial institutions if they want to leverage on that. So what we decided, in partnership with the Moroccan government, mainly the Ministry of Energy Transition and Sustainable Development of Morocco, we co-launched the Circular Economy Roadmap of Morocco. So we are actually right now working on it in parallel with other programs. We targeted some various program and project, very important sectors that we think that would be very important for Morocco. We had a committee that have all the stakeholders that are involved, including the government, financial institutions, but mainly the private sector for Morocco. And we targeted some major sectors like plastic, automotive sector, agro-industry, water, energy, cement, constructions. So these are all the sectors that we thought that they are very important and we have to focus on it. So we are right now working on that. And the objective is at the end of 2025 is to have a pipeline of projects bankable that Morocco can propose to the investors, international, national investors, financial institutions, or others that want to work on this field. So this is at the policy level. For technical assistance, right now we are having a portfolio of 7 big projects that UNIDO is leading in Morocco in circular economy, with 40 million euros of technical assistance that has been raised through international donors, institutions like the European Union, the GEF, the GCF, and other institutions. We are also working on 12 million supplementary euros for other projects, just to show you that there is real appetite for circularity in Morocco, and that the donors, international affairs, and others, and I'm sure my colleagues will, the other colleagues will confirm that there is real appetite for that for Morocco. Knowing that, I'm giving you just one example. Morocco is organizing with Spain and Portugal the World Cup in 2030, and among the engagement of Morocco that has done to FIFA is to work on 6 green cities in Morocco that will hold these matches. And these green cities, including circularity, including green mobility and other engagement that Morocco has done to FIFA. So that's why investors also are really interested in that. Part of the flagship program that we have the Switch to Circular Economy Value Chain, which is an international program that UNIDO is doing in many countries, including Egypt, Bangladesh, and Morocco. And it's funded by the European Union. And the objective of the program is to link EU multinationals with emerging countries in important sectors. For example, in Morocco, we focus on PET bottling. So we partner with Coca-Cola, Equatorial, to recycle bottles, PET bottles, in 3 main cities in Morocco. We've already started since 2 years. The work is really doing good, and it doesn't have only big multinational SMEs, but also the whole value chain from the collector to Coca-Cola, which is a big firm. So this is one of the programs. For example, in Egypt, we've done the same for electronic with a partnership with Nokia, for example. in Bangladesh with H&M for textile. So this is the type of project. We have others. We have Green Forward, where we support more than 250 Moroccan companies in textiles, fisheries, and automotive sectors. We have one program with the UNEP, which is PAGE program on green economy and circularity as well. We're working on construction sector, agro business, and I know that am I long? I should cut this out maybe. No, just to show that, of course, this is very important, and financially speaking, the most important is to see that there is an appetite, there is an interest, and that we really are working on very concrete initiatives that will help Morocco to reach this ambition of circular economy.
Thank you so much, Sanae, for that, and for sharing all these examples, seeing also how you're approaching it in a holistic way, also looking at the cities and the various topics that you're working on. I also want to see how, from a multilateral perspective also, and looking at the institutional tools for scale as well. So, Zouhair, if you can also share with us what type of financial instruments are most effective in the region here in Africa, Middle East, and how are they being applied in various sectors?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the question and thanks for the invitation. Good morning, everyone. So on EBRD side, we focus on financing the circular economy. Our goal is to find ways to help local corporates, local banks, and local institutions to finance circular economy. And we have different ways to address the different hurdles that we have identified. The first way and our first program that is targeting MSMEs is leveraging on the local banks. So we work on with the local banks in our different countries of operation, notably here in Morocco, for instance. So we work with all the different banks to try to finance altogether the circular economy. How we do this is that we provide all the necessary tools for these banks, leveraging on their market knowledge, leveraging on their teams, leveraging on their market presence all over the countries. And to manage all these and address all these hurdles, we will provide all the necessary funds, we will provide also the necessary knowledge, and we will also provide other components. As mentioned by Ms. Lahlou, there is a lot of demand, a lot of needs from the different MSMEs to finance circular economy, but then we identify different issues. The first one is the knowledge. In a lot of cases, we have identified that the different MSMEs either don't have the knowledge on how to do things, or they know how they know what they need to do, but they don't know how to do it. So in that case, we'll provide technical assistance with our banks. So we'll basically provide the different and specified consultants to work with the different MSMEs to help them come with a bankable project that would be in line with the circular economy, but that would be bankable as well. So there is technical assistance that is provided through our banks with the different MSMEs. The other issue that we have is that in some cases, even with the knowledge, the project might not be bankable for a lot of different reasons. We can discuss this. One of the most issues we have is the water reuse. And it's basically because water is very cheap in Morocco. So it's good news from one stand, but it's not very helpful when you want to finance circular economy. But in other cases, we identified that we can still help these MSMEs finance the circular economy, and we come up with incentives. So we try to incentivize this financing with MSMEs. These incentives can go up to 10%. In some very specific cases, when it's circular economy, climate adaptation, we can even go up to 15% incentives for the different MSMEs. That way we have been able to finance, for instance, in Morocco, more than 4 billion dirhams, so around 400 million euros over the past 5 years through our different banks. It's a very known product market here in Morocco and in our different countries of operation, notably Egypt, Turkey, Tunisia, a lot of different countries. We have the same way of working with the different banks, and it's working pretty well so far. But there are a lot of other things we also need to work on, and it might be on the policy dialogue. We're also trying to work with the different ministries to have policy dialogue programs to help us make sure that all the different MSMEs can finance the circular economy in the right way, working with the banks and with others. Now that we have stated what we are doing with banks, we are also working directly with corporates when it's larger projects. And in that case, we leverage on existing type of products such as SLS, which are sustainability linked loans, and basically these linked loans will identify a few steps that the corporate need to accomplish to benefit from incentives from low returns on their loans. In some other cases, we can also work on as an equity minority shareholder with different companies. So we also can invest in equity when we identify very specific sectors when there is a more enhanced and more important technical assistance that is needed on the governance.
Thank you so much, Zouhair, for sharing all these different also types of instruments. And I think it's a really nice segue into the next question where I ask Sanae how can we better link national circular economy roadmaps with access to blended finance or public-private partnerships to scale impact?
Thank you, Nuran, for the question. As I told earlier, we advocate for public-private partnership. The public sector cannot do it alone. Private sector cannot do it alone. Circular economy is not luxury. It's not greenwashing. It's a real necessity today. So one of our example is, as I said, the blended finance or public-private partnership in some sectors, because when you involve the private sector in a project, it allows first to de-risk the investments, because the public sector and international financiers are also involved in these initiatives. It's guarantee also the success, because when you have the private sector that take into consideration this initiative and take in their hands these initiatives, it go faster. By having this public partnership, that's why we really advocate for that in many programs. It helps to have a better portfolio of projects. Apart from that, we also partner with international financial institutions, for example, with the European Investment Bank. Under one of our projects, we designed a whole program to support the Moroccan financial institutions in their circular economy finance initiative. By, for example, supporting the local bank, by capacity building, training, support, by also creating a whole ecosystem through TVET or through capacity training and others of local consultants that also help the Moroccan companies. We support also, we help also to build linkages between the governments and those local institutions. So these are real initiatives that help us also to build up on their circular economy finance initiative. And one last point, which is really important, under all the regulatory framework that we are doing, under many programs, we also advocate for more green finance initiatives, fiscal taxation, green taxation, eco-tax, carbon tax. These are some examples, green VAT, and there's a lot of initiatives that unfortunately has not really been doing that much. So our work also in UNIDO is to advocate for those initiatives in order to help the SMEs, big but also the small businesses and cooperatives through a more circular economy.
It's very important also that everyone has to be involved in this process, from, as you mentioned, from the SMEs to the large corporations as well. And also it's interesting also seeing how the private sector is seeing the business case as well in circular economy. So with that said, Tonna, I look to you also if you can share with us as a financial institution, what challenges do you actually encounter in addressing circular economy initiatives at the bank?
Okay, let me start from regulatory. The first will be insufficient incentive to promote circular economy. There's a huge challenge. Another is weak enforcement of circular economy regulations. And what this does is that it limits demand for circular economy solutions. And what we've tried to do is to try to also be involved in policy dialogue and also when there are public-private workshops with government agencies, we get involved, and we also sponsor some of these initiatives by the government, to drive circular economy. The other constraint is on the financial aspect. These projects are capital intensive, and like I mentioned earlier, many of these businesses are SMEs and fall within the informal enterprises. So it's a bit of constraint, a bit of challenge, trying to, what we had to do was to try and adapt financing solutions to be able to suit their peculiar circumstances. Another aspect is not having a dedicated financial instrument for circular economy. And we are looking at issuing a green bond to be able to address this challenge. Then also the market constraints too, where we have limited problems with limited awareness of circular economy practice among businesses, and also we cannot develop mechanisms for reuse and recycling. It's a huge challenge. So what we did as a bank is periodically we develop content on circular economy, which we circulate on the various social media platforms for our customers to raise awareness on circular economy. In our ENS due diligence process, we engage our customers to see how they champion circular economy approaches in their businesses. Another thing we do is when it comes to monitoring, when we go for site visits, we see what's happening on ground, our customers' businesses, and try to advocate for that they adopt circular business models in their businesses. We also engage in industry associations, with collaborations with industry associations, and also ecosystem actors, for example, recyclers. We do a lot of engagement with them. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tonna, for sharing that, and also for sharing the need for, again, capacity building and awareness also on the matter. But Hany, so on capacity building also and awareness, this is something that Sekem has done also very well with their team internally. And I wanted to see if there are any lessons learned that you can share on embedding circularity principles across business operations. Also, if you can share it from a real economy perspective as well, because as a client to the banks and so on.
In private sector level and in Sekem, I think we, when we succeeded to convert the agriculture model, which is to a zero waste circular economy, because we managed to use or recycle all the irrigation water in the cultivation cycle, so we reached zero waste. We managed to use all the agriculture waste and the animal waste in creating a compost. Composting is a natural fertilizer. So you generate zero waste from irrigation, zero waste from waste, and even we have been, it's related to innovation. So one of our efforts that we succeeded to build a model that's convert all the waste from palm trees, converted to abetos, and some sort of fertilizers. So I think reaching such high level of circularity in the agriculture, for us, it was a model for everyone, because most of people, as I said, are afraid of agriculture. But when everyone come and visit Sekem in our farms and see in reality what is the model and how it is circular economy and how the utilization of water and the use of agriculture waste in reality, definitely he likes the idea and he would like to duplicate in other place. And the most significant, success factor I can say is not related to Sekem. It's related to our success to teach and educate smallholder farmers about the importance of circular agriculture. So through our technician, we invest a lot in building capacity, teaching our agriculture engineering, and to visit our farmers, providing them with an online educational material, how to organic cultivation, what are the models, what are kind of natural fertilizers, how you gonna treat your agricultural waste, and how you can use all the efficient of organic agriculture. And surprisingly, we have been a huge positive response from farmers. They're extremely very happy because you can imagine in Egypt what are the alternative of get rid of this waste is to burn it. You can imagine at a certain time in Egypt, all the sky of Egypt are covered by dust from burning some waste of main crops in Egypt. So for them it was a very difficult process, and they cost money and a lot of troubles. But we present them a solution, how you can use this kind of waste and how to compost it in a certain degree, in a certain mechanism, and you can use this compost again in agriculture, so you can save money. I think this is the real value added we have. We have now, and we are continuing in this journey. We are targeting to reach not only 40,000 farmers, but at least 20% of Egyptian farmers. Because if we manage 20%, I think by default, all this percentage will be coming, and all the other farmers will join. So I think this is the key secret of having agriculture from this perspective.
Thank you so much, Hany, for sharing that. And then this is a very good case study and example that hopefully could be replicated also by other private sector actors within the same field. And Zouhair, I want to ask you also, what role do you see for the development financial institutions in de-risking investments that support circular economy models? And how can these be tailored for local contexts?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the question. We can see at least three ways of helping de-risk in the circular economy financing. The first way is clearly knowledge, as we commonly also call technical assistance, and in a lot of different ways. It can be at the level of the SME. There's a lot of knowledge needed. We have worked with a lot of SMEs working in the plastic sector, or in the waste management, waste vitalization, and a lot of different sectors in which we have a lot of knowledge that is needed, both from the SMEs and from the other key stakeholders. The second knowledge that is needed in technical assistance is at the financial institutions level, at the banks level, because there's a lot of need to help them have specific processes to identify and mitigate the risk when financing these type of investments. And there is, of course, the policy dialogue side. So the technical assistance with the different regulators to work on the different topics that we have mentioned here in this panel. Now we have mentioned the technical assistance. The second way is mitigating the risk, and we have a lot of different levels to this. The first one is to come up with concessional finance. So basically, with the help of our donors, we will have lower interest rate for our financial institutions, so that they can all lend, with a decrease in margins and making all these type of investments bankable. When it's even more risky, we can share the risk. We have risk sharing facilities with the different financial institutions, and when it's really complicated, then we can go to first loss cover. So we basically layer in the risk, and the DFI will take the first loss risk, and then others can be senior in this type of investments. The last point that we can mention is that we need to also be storytellers. We need to share with all the different sector if we have any type of investment that was done, so that we have a demonstration effect, because it's really helpful when you show that is possible, that is feasible, that's the type of waste management is feasible, that you can invest in water reuse with it being bankable and with acceptable returns. So we really need to be storytellers and share this demonstration effect with the whole sector.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing also these enabling approaches. I think it's very important that there is support also provided to the private financial institutions as well on this journey. As mentioned, there could be a lot of risk and a lot of support that is needed, including as well as support on telling the story and sharing awareness raising as well on the topic. Just in concluding, I'm mindful also that we have 6 minutes left for this session. If I can have one final question, like a lightning round for all of our panelists today, if you can share with us, like in a minute or so, like what is the single most impactful action, be it policy, financial instrument, or collaboration, that you believe could unlock circular economy finance in the region?
I think financial instrument is it's the most important. That's not to say that policy and policy isn't important or collaboration isn't important, but I think having a blended finance where you have concessionary finance, where you have government or DFIs, de-risking investments, and then being able to make these projects less riskier and actually being able to attract private capital is very, very important. So I think financial instrument, having that blended finance is what will translate policy and collaboration into tangible projects.
Thank you so much, Tonna.
From my side, I think innovation, it's the key solution to have innovation financial solutions. And let me share one of the ideas that we are thinking in Sekem. So what about if financial institutions accept to take part of their interest or return in form of carbon credit? So at least you finance a business model, and this business model is generating carbon credit, and in return you are sharing the success of this your financing portion and supporting and taking this carbon credit. You can either use this carbon credit to offset the bank carbon emission or to sell it to your network. So this is one idea. Another idea, can the banks approach their network of clients who are interested in carbon emission and make some sort of forward deal against this contract? So if I have a customer interested in 100,000 tons of carbon emission, so I can lend the smallholder farmer against this contract as a forward deal. So I'm talking about this kind of innovation. We are talking about some circular economy, in particular agriculture. So I think this is, from my perspective, a key solution to get out of the financial trap we currently had and suffering from.
From UNIDO's perspective, I think one of the solutions would be dialogue, and this dialogue has to be around a dedicated circular economy, national financial platform, bringing together the government, the private sector, the IFIs, donors, all the stakeholders around a portfolio, a pipeline of bankable circular economy projects. This platform is very important, not to let anyone working alone, but bringing all these stakeholders together around concrete bankable projects.
From our perspective, we believe that the right financial package is key to be able to finance circular economy. And we have seen this through our experience in our different countries of operation, and notably here in Morocco. You can do whatever you want at the end of the day. As we say, cash is king, and the investor will always think about his returns on this very specific project. So the financial package will be very relevant, and when we have subsidies, incentives, and we can help this finance, we have seen that it really made the deal concrete, and it helped us achieve what we wanted to.
Thank you so much for your valuable insights for this session. And I really love how the last lightning round kind of showed every aspect that needs to happen, like looking at, with Tonna, like the importance of financial instruments and innovation also, and looking at financial solutions, the variety of them, and how these also solutions require policy discussions, which Sanae also touched on. All these conversations as well, and then finally packaging everything in a way that would be suitable for the financial institutions, for the real economy actors, and for the governments as well. So thank you so much for the valuable insights. And again, as said, like circular economy is at the heart of Africa and Middle East, and it's in our homes even. So we look forward to continuing the conversations in action in the region. So thank you so much for your attention, everyone as well, and for our speakers. With that said, we come to a close for our session. No worries. Thank you so much.